Featured editor of the Newtownards Chronicle. Hello, John.
Hello, Diane.
How long have you been doing this job for?
Well, I've been editor for almost 2 years now, and I've been involved in newspapers for about 14 years.
Okay. How did you get started in the job?
Well, I started off in the Bangor's Spectator, which is also owned by our company, as a reporter, then was transferred over to the Chronicle and became editor in June 85.
Right, thank you. How did the Chronicle get its name?
Well, Chronicle really comes from the word chronicler, which is compiler of news, and that's how we got our name, really.
Okay. How did the paper start and when?
The paper started in 1876, I think, if my arithmetic's 1873, and it was a family firm launched by two brothers.
How long does it take to make up one issue, and what stages are there in the process?
Well, work on an issue really begins on a Monday morning, from a news point of view on a Monday morning, and we compile the news between Monday and Wednesday. The make-up of the paper commences on Wednesday night and it's printed on a Thursday morning, so the actual process is a 4.5 day week.
Okay. Where do you get the news items and features from?
Well, we have our own editorial staff of 3 reporters who compile news, and then we have reports sent in by football clubs and tennis clubs and all sorts of other things.
Okay. Who owns the paper?
It's owned by Alexander Newspapers, which is a family company again.
Okay. How many staff are there altogether, and what departments are there?
There's about 34 of the staff. We have an office where advertising is all accepted, processed and so on. There's also an accounts department there. We have a photographic department, editorial department, printing department, and a composition department where it's all set up and where the makeup work is carried out.
Right. How much does it cost to advertise in the paper, and how is this figure worked out?
Well, advertising, there's a very broad range of costs, from very tiny adverts selling cars or fridges or washing machines, whatever, and they cost about $1.40 for 20 words or something like that. And then we have very large adverts, which cost again various range of prices, you know.
Okay, right. Thank you then.
Now, this is the paste-up department here. Okay, we're going to go over to John Smith here, the paste-up artist. This is the make-up department here, and John's going to make up. What are you making up, John?
The front page.
John's making up the front page of this daily newspaper. Go ahead. He's just putting the heading of the story down. These pictures have been trimmed beforehand and they fit in perfectly into the columns. That picture's, what is it, John? 5 columns, is it? 4 column, and then the caption goes underneath there. This is the front page. It's always done last because late news coming in. The stories are usually the heading, then the intro underneath, those few lines underneath that are smaller, and then the main story that he's cutting up now he's going to paste in. Sometimes if the stories are too long, the editor would come along and edit it, take out a paragraph. The actual mock-up page that he's working on is the same for all the pages. There's 2, 4... Many columns, John? 10 columns. Across. Sometimes the stories are marked single column, or double, or treble, whatever. You'll notice that there's ads at each corner of the bottom 2 corners of the page. They're specified front page or whatever, so they go in there. That's made up, John? Well, it's made up like that, and then John will call the editor along and he'll check it, and then it'll go and be printed. That's another department. Thanks, John.
Well, I have with me Esme Woods, Deputy Editor and Reporter. Hello, Esme.
Hello, Cheryl.
How long have you been doing this job?
Well, I've been Deputy Editor more or less since John took over as Editor, which was about 2 years ago, but I've been working for the Chronicle for 7 years.
How did you get started in the job?
Well, I was doing a journalist course at the College of Business Studies in Belfast. The job actually came up before I finished the course, so I left without doing any of the exams apart from a shorthand.
Thanks. Where do you get the news items and features from?
Well, obviously with John being the editor, he will tell us what stories he wants us to cover and what news he wants us to do, or features or whatever. But you rely on your news stories mainly from the general public. You rely on people to come in and tell you what's happening, or else politicians sometimes come in as well with stories.
Thanks. How and where is the paper printed?
The paper is printed in the Blue Industrial Estate in Bangor. There's a factory there with a large newspaper printing process. It's called offset lithography. And the Chronicle and the Newtownards Spectator and the Bangor Spectator are also printed there. It's also used for commercial printing as well. For instance, the teachers' newspaper, the Teachers' Union newspaper platform is printed there too.
What qualifications are needed to do your job?
Well, basically, the qualifications are a good use of English, and shorthand and typing are essential.
How many papers are printed each week, and what happens to the unsold ones?
There's about 14,000 Chronicles printed every week. Each newsagent doesn't pay for the papers he doesn't sell. These are collected and taken back to Bangor, and there's a company comes every month and takes the old newspapers which aren't sold, and they're recycled.
Where does the newsprint paper come from?
The newsprint comes from the Scandinavian countries. It's brought to Ireland down south, and there's a distributor who will distribute all through Ireland with the newsprint.
Right, thank you.